My Apple Watch has lost battery, so I'm not even going to bother working out because I can't record it. Their active wear's in the wash. Can't wear what I wanted to wear to the gym, so I might just go tomorrow. It's like I'm not perfect either, so just trying to get it done.
Big questions, small questions. The ones that you ask the internet at 1 a.m. Our research experts have the answers to those everyday curiosities. Like,
how do I get motivated for a workout? I'm Dr Jackson Fyfe from Deakin University, and I'll tell you how. Why do we often lose motivation after setting big fitness goals like New Year's resolutions? New Year's resolutions tend to be those really big, bold goals. We need to start with those big goals, and then we need to think, what are the stepping stones towards that longer term goal, and try and stay on track that way. Much better than those traditional big goals that we often go for. What's your ultimate lazy person's exercise hack? I'm not sure if I like the term lazy, but I think if someone is struggling to find that motivation and drive to exercise, I think just micro workouts or exercise snacks is a great thing to try. So that could be something as simple as a few bodyweight exercises on your lunch break. Could be taking the stairs a little bit quicker when you're at work or throughout your day. Just little things like that where we get these little short bursts of activity. What's the biggest psychological barrier that stops people from exercising regularly? I'd have to say it's the all or nothing thinking. Just this trap that we get into, thinking that if we can't follow the perfect workout or perfect routine, that it's not even worth doing anything. Do you ever hit snooze instead of going for a workout? I'm not perfect. I've definitely skipped workouts in the past. I think I've just got better at trying to choose something instead of nothing. So if I plan to do an hour-long workout, it might just be, look, let's just start with 5 or 10 minutes, even if it's just something simple, walking around the block. Or if I want to go to the gym, instead of doing a full session, I might just say, look, I'll just do a couple of exercises and then I'll come back home, and often once I get started I feel like doing a bit more. So I think it's all about just trying to find that something over nothing most of the time. Is it true that exercising with a friend really makes you more likely to stick with it? I think there's definitely some truth to this, in that you're more likely to cancel on yourself than you are to cancel on a friend. So just having that social accountability is really critical, knowing that someone's going to be waiting for you, at the gym or wherever you plan to meet. The research does show that exercising with others does make it a little bit more enjoyable and, again, rewarding in the short term. So I think when you incorporate both of those things, it does make exercise a little bit easier to stick with when you do it with others. All right. Why does exercise sometimes feel harder after work, even if we had energy earlier in the day? So I think, again, with exercise, it comes back to effort versus reward, and we're constantly weighing this up in our minds. And if we've been through a work day, we're quite tired, stressed, we're exhausted, it just makes that decision to expend a little bit of effort to do a workout a lot harder. For a lot of people, trying to exercise earlier in the day, either before the work day or at lunchtime, can make it a bit easier because we're not feeling too overloaded at that point. And I think for someone who is struggling to form an exercise habit, I think definitely earlier is better. What role does routine play in keeping us consistent with working out? I think this just comes back to building habits, which I think is really important with something like exercise. So anything that's routine, we really don't need to think about it all that much. Try and tie it to something that we do, every day, whether that's, after we have a coffee, before shower, lunchtime, that kind of thing. So when we do that behaviour that we do anyway, we can trigger ourselves into taking actions. Does TikTok fitness culture genuinely help people or just create fads? Yeah, this is a good one, and I think this does go both ways. Exercise gets a lot more exposure these days. That's the good part of it, in terms of just getting that exposure out there. And I think the downfall is that it can give people the impression that unless they are following that perfect routine, it's not worthwhile doing anything less than that. And for most people, those sorts of things that they do see on social media might not be sustainable. How do our brains weigh up the cost versus benefit of working out? So if we get too hung up on the fact that we might lose weight or build muscle months or years down the track, often it's not quite enough of an incentive to keep us coming back for the amount of effort that we put in. And if you think about other things that we might do, whether it's, eating our favourite food or sitting on the couch, very minimal effort for very quick reward. So more and more in the research, we're working out that very, very small amounts of exercise can be quite beneficial. So you don't need a lot of time, you just need to be able to do it often. That can really make that cost to benefit ratio much more favourable. How can people build habits so that they exercise even when they don't feel like it? A lot of times we kind of feel like we need a lot of motivation to exercise. We need to be feeling good to work out. But in reality, what the research shows as well is that exercise is what makes us feel good. So we don't necessarily need to feel good to start, we just need to find a way to start. And once we do, then often the good feelings come and we can keep going from that place. What's the funniest excuse you've ever heard for skipping a workout? You hear people say, my Apple Watch has lost battery, so I'm not even going to bother working out because I can't record it. Their active wear's in the wash, so I can't wear what I wanted to wear to the gym, so I might just go tomorrow. And even myself, I'm not perfect either. The imperfect workout is always going to be better than nothing, so just trying to get it done.